For as long as I can remember, my mother treated me like a background character in my own life. Not abused, not screamed at, just ignored. She had a gift for that kind of cruelty, the quiet kind. The kind that leaves no bruises but teaches you early that love is conditional, and attention is something you have to earn. In our house, everything revolved around my younger brother, Daniel. Daniel was the miracle baby, the sensitive one, the one who needed understanding. Patience, extra money, extra chances, extra everything. If he broke something, it was stress. If he failed a class, it was pressure. If he threw a tantrum at 22 years old, it was just who he is. Me, I was the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who didn't need anything, or so my mother decided. When I was 13, I won a regional science competition. I came home with a medal and a certificate, hands shaking with excitement. My mom didn't look up from her phone. "That's nice," she said. "Can you help Daniel with his homework? He's frustrated." When I was 16, I got a scholarship offer from a top university summer program. I printed the email and left it on the kitchen table. She never mentioned it. When I graduated high school, top of my class, she skipped the ceremony because Daniel wasn't feeling up to it. I learned early that if I waited for her approval, I'd wait forever. So I stopped asking. I worked part-time jobs while studying. I taught myself coding at night, watching free tutorials while everyone slept. I failed quietly, learned quietly, improved quietly, and when I got accepted into a good university, my mother didn't help me move. She didn't ask how I'd afford it. She just said, "Call when you're settled." I didn't. College was hard. Brutally hard. I slept on a mattress on the floor of a shared apartment. I skipped meals. I reused notebooks. I worked 2 jobs while studying computer science. No calls from my mom. No, "Are you okay?" No, "Do you need anything?" Meanwhile, Daniel dropped out of college twice, moved back home, lived rent-free, got allowance money, complained endlessly about how life was unfair to him, and my mother listened. I stopped feeling angry at some point. Anger takes energy, and I had none to spare. Instead, I felt empty, detached, like I had already mourned the loss of a relationship that technically still existed. After graduation, I landed a junior developer role at a small startup. The pay was modest, but the learning curve was insane. I thrived. I stayed late. I fixed problems no one else wanted to touch. 2 years later, when the startup collapsed, I didn't panic. I had already started something on the side, a tool. Simple at first. Something to automate a process that annoyed me at work. I refined it, tested it, improved it, shared it quietly with a few people online. Then more people wanted it. Then companies wanted it. Then investors started emailing. I registered a company under my name, rented a tiny office, hired 1 person, then 3, then 10. I didn't tell my mother. Why would I? She hadn't asked about my life in years. By the time I was 30, my company had contracts across 3 continents. We weren't famous. We weren't flashy, but we were profitable, very profitable. One day I received an email that made my hands tremble. An acquisition offer? Not a joke, not spam. A serious offer from a global firm. I stared at the number for a long time. Then I closed my laptop and went for a walk. Negotiations took months. Lawyers, meetings, sleepless nights. When the deal finally closed, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the confirmation email. I didn't cry. I just felt calm, relieved, free. And that's when my mother called. It was the first time she'd called me in over a year. "Christmas is coming," she said, as if we had spoken yesterday. "You should come home." I almost said no. Almost. But something inside me shifted. "Sure," I said. "I'll come." She sounded pleased. Not excited, just satisfied, like checking a box. I didn't mention the sale. I didn't mention the money. Christmas Eve arrived. I drove to my childhood home in a car I'd bought without financing, without loans, without stress. I parked on the street and walked in. The house looked the same. The same couch, the same photos, except there were no photos of me after age 12. Daniel was there, sprawled on the sofa, scrolling his phone. He barely looked up. "Oh, you came," he said. My mother hugged him immediately when he stood up. "Did you eat?" she asked him. "I made your favorite." She glanced at me. "You look fine," she said. Dinner was exactly as I remembered. Daniel complained about his job. My mother nodded sympathetically. She asked him about his plans, his dreams, his frustrations. No one asked me anything. Halfway through the meal, my uncle leaned over. "So," he said, smiling politely, "what are you doing these days?" Before I could answer, my mother waved her hand. Oh, he's in computers or something, she said. Always was good with that. Something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. I sold my company, I said. The table went silent. My mother looked at me sharply. What company? My company, I said calmly. I sold it last week. Daniel laughed. Yeah, right. My uncle raised an eyebrow. Really, for how much? I picked up my glass, took a sip, and said casually, 150 million. The silence was absolute. You could hear the clock ticking. My mother's fork clattered against her plate. What? She whispered. I sold my company, I repeated. 150 million. After taxes, obviously less. But enough. Daniel stared at me like I'd spoken another language. That's not funny, he said. I'm not joking. My mother's face shifted. Confusion, disbelief, then something else. Greed. You never told us, she said. You never asked, I replied. Her voice softened immediately. Why would you keep something like that from family? I smiled, not cruelly. Just honestly, because for years you didn't want to know anything about my life. The room grew tense. That's not true, she snapped. I was busy. I had responsibilities. With Daniel, I said quietly. Daniel stood up. What's that supposed to mean? It means, I said, looking at my mother, that you ignored me for years. You missed my achievements, my struggles, my life, and now you're shocked I didn't include you in my success. My mother opened her mouth, closed it, then said, Well, now that you have money, things can be different. There it was. I stood up slowly. I didn't come here to offer you anything, I said. I came to tell you something. They all watched me. I didn't sell my company to finally be seen by you, I said. I sold it because I built something valuable. Something I did without your support. My mother's eyes glistened. I did the best I could. No, I said gently. You did what was easiest. I turned to Daniel. I hope life works out for you, I said. Genuinely. Then I looked back at my mother. But I'm done waiting for your approval. I grabbed my coat. Don't you want to stay? She asked, panic creeping into her voice. I shook my head. I already had my Christmas gift, I said. Peace. As I walked out into the cold night, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. We should talk. I didn't reply. Some revenge isn't about yelling or cutting people down. Some revenge is becoming so complete, so whole, that the people who once ignored you finally realize. They lost you long before they lost access to your success, and this time there was nothing they could do to get me back.